welcome to the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce final mayoral debate. My name is Steve Messinio, and I'm the President and CEO of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. We are pleased to bring you this year's debate series. Our chamber is a proud supporter of both businesses and residents in the city of Marlborough, and we appreciate the opportunity to host these debates. Before I get started, I'd like to thank the city of Marlborough, the District Education Center, WMCT-TV, our moderator, timekeeper, and panelists for their efforts in bringing you this debate tonight. Also, thank you to both mayoral candidates who have put on in the effort into running for a chance to serve as your next mayor of the city of Marlborough. I'd also like to take a moment to share a few upcoming events the chamber is running to support businesses and members of our community. The first is our upcoming annual Tri-Chamber Veterans event. It's being held at the American Heritage Museum in Hudson on Thursday, November 9th from 4 to 7 p.m. It's a great event to honor our nation's veterans and also to connect with a lot of great people in our community. Additionally, we have another event on Tuesday, November 28th. It's our Kits for Kids event, where we bring a bunch of our community members together at Apex Center, and we build kits for kids to give away at the holidays. It's a great organization, nonprofit organization, and we encourage you to attend. You can find our events at the website, marlboroughchamber.org, under our calendar, our events section, so please register and join us for those events. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our timekeeper, Government Affairs Chair, Emily Greenwood, who's also the president of EKG Networking.
Thank you, Steve. And as we have this last mayoral debate, I want to let everybody know Steve Kerrigan was great to give us the early voting dates and times for the city. So you've got 2 more days left for early voting. You have Thursday, November 2nd from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Friday, November 3rd from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's at City Hall. We want to thank WMCT-TV for broadcasting this event, the City of Marlborough District Education Center for hosting the debates here, and thank you to the candidates and the panelists for helping us out. We host these debates to be an impartial group that helps residents decide on who will be the next mayor for the city of Marlborough. Our moderator this evening will be Darlene Welch of Minuteman Press. We say all this stuff again because these are going to be broadcast independently, so then you get to hear it all over again. Darlene has been with Minuteman Press since 2011. She's a member of the board of directors of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce and with the Massachusetts 4-H as the horse communication coach for 15 years, helping students become national champions in 2012, 2019, and 2022. Please welcome our moderator to introduce the candidates, the panelists, and explain the rules. Darlene Welch.
Welcome, everyone. I would like to start by introducing the candidates and panelists for this evening's event. First, the panelists in alphabetical order. We have Robert Gustafson from Triton Financial, Julie Brown Dahlbeck from Marlborough Wellness Center, and Luis Tomez from Modular Cleaning. All 3 are business owners in the city of Marlborough and members of the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce. And next, our candidates participating in the debate. Also in alphabetical order, please note political affiliations do not matter in a municipal election. Because the question has been asked when the chamber reached out for questions, we are introducing the candidates with their political affiliations. We have Christian Dumais. He is a Ward 3 councilor and an independent. And we have Samantha Perlman, at-large councilor and a Democrat. For the purpose of this debate, I will address all of you by your first name. I hope you don't mind. Before we begin, I would like to go over the format for this debate. First, members of the audience, you are only allowed to clap when a candidate has finished their introduction and at the end when they have completed their closing statements. All other times, I ask you to be courteous and remain silent. Candidates, you each have 2 minutes to introduce yourself. The first round, you will be asked questions by the panelist. You will have 1 minute for your response, 30 seconds for a rebuttal. Second round, each candidate, you will ask each other 4 respectful questions. Again, 1 minute for response and 30 seconds for rebuttal. And then if time permits, we will go back to the panelist for additional questions. At the conclusion of the debate, all candidates will have 2 minutes for their closing statements, which will be in reverse order. So I'll start one way and go back the other way. I ask each of you to be concise with your answers and respectful of your time and each other. So I'd like to begin with Christian and your opening.
Thank you, Darlene. Good evening. My name is Christian Dumais, and I'm proudly running to be your next mayor. I want to first apologize, as I have come down with a little cold, so I ask you for your patience with my voice. I have a sneaking suspicion that it has something to do with the great time I had passing out candy to hundreds of little trick-or-treaters this past week. I would like to thank the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce and WMCT-TV for making this debate possible. I'd also like to express my deep gratitude to you, the residents of Marlborough, for a privilege of being one of your top 2 candidates for mayor. As a hometown kid who has Marlborough running through his veins, it was a great honor. Tonight, you'll hear from myself and my opponent about our different visions for Marlborough's future. Both of us grew up here and went to school here. And while I have no doubt we're both passionate about Marlborough, what makes us 2 different candidates is our respect, experience, and readiness. I am currently the longest serving city councilor in this race, the only small business owner in the race, and the only one to serve as a member of the West Side Fire Station Committee. I have been a small business owner downtown for 13 years. Prior to that, worked at Fidelity here in Marlborough and earned my bachelor's degree in business administration from LaSalle University. I am a longtime member of the Marlborough Chamber of Commerce and have a long relationship with our state and federal leaders that go back over a decade. I started this campaign with a fire in my belly, knowing that the city that raised me needed new leadership. While we have made significant improvements over the last several years, there is much left to be done. We have too many roads in disrepair, a fire station to build, overcrowding school systems, and housing growth that is moving in the wrong direction. We need to incorporate 21st century technology into our community outreach and find ways to bring our community together again. Over the last 9 months, I have laid out my comprehensive vision for Marlborough, a vision that includes not only what I plan to do about those issues, but how I'm going to do it. I look forward to sharing those plans with you tonight. To be clear, I did not run for mayor because I disliked Mayor Vigent or knew who else was put their hat in the ring. I made a decision because I love this city deeply and recognize we need new leadership to step up. Thank you.
Thank you. Samantha.
Thank you. Hello, Marlborough. My name is Samantha Perlman. I'm your city councilor at large, and I am honored to be a candidate for mayor. Thank you to the chamber and our local TV station for making this debate possible. I have proudly served as your counselor and a key member of the Finance Committee, representing the entire city for 4 years, and you have consistently elected me with the most votes. I am grateful you supported me as a top vote recipient in the preliminary election for mayor. Thank you. This says everything about what we as a community want to be, and electing a leader we trust who represents all of us. Tonight you will hear from 2 candidates, why we are running for mayor and our vision. I ask you to listen to what we offer that is unique and for the residents. We fundamentally differ in how we see the role of mayor. A city is not a corporation, and a mayor is not a CEO making unilateral decisions while interacting with customers. When our focus is only on profit, we miss what residents need most. Leading a city is like leading a nonprofit, delivering key services to residents, listening to the concerns of families and seniors, and taking action to improve our quality of life. That is why 5 of the last 6 mayors were councilors at large. I have the experience listening, advocating, and taking decisive action citywide to make our community stronger. This is more than a job. The responsibilities of mayor, whether setting the budget, hiring staff, advocating for residents, matter to me personally. I grew up here and I'm a product of the community. My professional jobs at national nonprofits in civic education enable me to make government relevant, and I understand all levels, having passed the state law on civic education in 2018. In a few weeks, I will complete my law degree at Boston College Law School, and I'm also studying urban planning and environmental policy. Whether making it affordable for families and seniors to stay in our city, investing in infrastructure, or ensuring public safety, I'm ready to serve as our mayor on day 1. When Marlborough thrives, we all thrive.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're going to start with
First question.
Bob. First question.
All right. What qualifies you to be the mayor of our city, and what, if any, are your future political ambitions?
Christian?
That's a great question. I think what separates us apart is the readiness and experience. Councilor Perlman just mentioned the fact that it's not a CEO of, or a large corporation, but it is. It affects us the tax rate at the end of the day. Starting a new business was extremely grueling. You need to have long days, be proactive as well as reactive, and I think that's where my readiness will come in. I have no further political aspirations. I never thought I'd be sitting here to be the next mayor or even as a city councilor. I'm running because I think that we're missing out on an aspect of bringing the community together, and with my financial background and running a small business, I think that's what makes me the better candidate. I generally care about this community. That's the only reason why I wanted to run, because I think the community wasn't being heard and advocated for.
Thank you. Samantha.
I'm a product of Marlborough and a proud graduate of our public school system. And what led me to run for the city council 4 years ago was because I wanted to be represented, and I felt that I should have people like me in positions of leadership to help serve our entire city. And I've been doing that for the last 4 years as a citywide councilor. I have background in education, having passed a state law on civic education that's been in place since 2018. I have experience in environmental work, things important for our resiliency as a community, things around the law, the language of government, which is very important, and then certainly being able to bring the experience of working in the nonprofit sector. And I think that professional experience bodes really well to run the city like a nonprofit where we deliver services to support residents and improve quality of life.
Thank you. Julie, would you like to ask a question?
Okay, Christian, you referenced making downtown Main Street a one-way. How is the existing funding of the current downtown project utilized in your idea?
Funding in what regards?
Maybe it's about the grant that we received.
Yeah,
That's what I would assume as well.
because that's one of the things that you're very interested in trying to do. How do we have the funding to be able to make that happen? Is it already part of a vision, a project?
Sure.
How do we see that your idea become something?
So it's just having that vision as well and creating a working group with the current business owners as well as people in the community to revitalize downtown, and actually bringing anchor stores to that as well. Once you have more pedestrian-friendly walkways, it's easier to do. There's grant money always available, and as well as MEDC provides funding to create different studies to look into that. So regarding the funding, which I'm more than happy to explore options with MEDC to make sure that one-way is actually available and can be applicable. So it's a bigger picture regarding parking spaces and of that nature as well. But it needs to be looked at, it needs to be reevaluated, because once it is a one-way, then we can have more events downtown and bring more people downtown to create that environment of a community.
Okay. And I think Luis's question's for Samantha.
Yes. First of all, again, thank you very much for your willingness to serve the community. Before making this question here, I just want to ask Samantha to expand, while she answers this, on the political aspirations, since Christian mentioned, and I think you didn't have time to. So you speak in your plans about making it more walkable and environmentally sustainable. Making Marlborough or downtown more walkable and environmentally sustainable. How would you define this for the downtown? We can figure out walkable. How would you make it environmentally sustainable?
Thank you for the question. So certainly, I'm dedicated to the city of Marlborough, and that's why I'm running for this position. I've certainly been serving citywide and have noticed just the limitations of being a councilor and really wanting to make more of an impact to serve our residents. So that is why I'm running for mayor. And then certainly to your point around the downtown, things around and being more environmentally conscious, we already have seen how our changing climate has made the flooding happen in our downtown neighborhoods and across the city. Things around our resiliency from infrastructure, so upgrades to our roads, even the widening of sidewalks is helpful in order to mitigate some of that flooding, and certainly increasing our tree coverage. The heat in the downtown area is higher because there is more impervious surface, so being able to have that is really important as well. And then really supporting the business community. I mean, so many folks are already really excited to make environmental changes in their own business practices, and certainly upgrading the efficiency of the buildings that we have and moving towards net zero as well.
Thank you. So now I'm going to turn it over to you two to ask each other's questions.
Already?
Will
Yeah, ready?
Christian,
Do you want-
you can start.
Sure. Since this question I thought was going to be asked, I will ask it to you, Councilor Perlman. So my question is about the West Side Fire Station. The only mention in the West Side Fire Station on your website is, and I quote, "prioritize building the long-awaited fire station in the west part of the city," end quote. I sat on the West Side Fire Station Committee for 2 years and helped commission a 171-page report to the mayor. I negotiated $7 million of private funds exclusively for the station, and I've represented the west side of the city for 6 years as Ward 3 City Councilor. Given those facts, you can share what makes you more qualified to get this project off the ground on day one more than I am. Can you also share your plan to get the West Side Base Station built?
So one of the most important things about this is listening to the residents on the west side, and certainly with our fire staff. I've spoken with our fire chief, our fire union multiple times to really understand some of the issues at the ground level. And a lot of it is, in addition to the station, the staffing levels. And that's really a big concern, that there aren't enough firefighters on a shift, and we've had to rely on mutual aid. And certainly being able to bring the number of firefighters up per staffing shift would be incredibly important, and something you can immediately do to alleviate some of that burden across the city. We both have been engaged in the City Council's allocation of funding resources, whether it's through mitigation with the West Side Stabilization Account, so we've secured funding for it. And there has been those discussions of the original location that current Mayor Vigent had established. I was active at those public meetings when the public was engaged about their concerns that it was in a residential area in the Lock Drive facility, and certainly from having read the report, the radius that were designed for different locations of the station really doesn't fit with what we would need in the city. So making sure the coverage is sufficient is the top priority.
Okay,
Can I rebuttal, please?
sure.
Sure. Thank you for that. So, as mayor, I will be reinstating the West Side Fire Station Committee. I had the honor of sitting with numerous people, fire chiefs throughout the area, as well as the current fire chief, some public safety administration as well, to understand those response times. We need to reopen negotiations for Lock Drive to get that done. Pleasant Street Fire Station will remain open under my administration as well, and we have $1.2 million coming to us regarding mitigation money to help allocate that. But residents have been promised a fire station for over 20 years. It's imperative to elect someone who has the background experience and a plan to get this job done.
All right, thank you. Samantha?
So Christian, we both are on the city council and have been actively representing our particular district and citywide. What are the top 3 pieces of legislation or initiatives that you've put forth as a city councilor?
Sure. So my concentration as a city councilor is to represent Ward 3 effectively. Again, working on the fire station committee was a huge advocate. I was a huge advocate for the library project as well, and also the Goodnow Brothers schools. There was a lot of debate about the Goodnow Brothers schools being in that location, and I advocated for that as well. As far as legislation, I have not worked on current legislation, only because my focus has been on Ward 3 and constituent issues, such as code enforcement, blight issues that's been wreaking havoc. I have been advocating for new code enforcement or salaries and things of that nature to make the city working better on the local level.
Okay,
Can I respond as well?
you may.
I appreciate you bringing that up. It's very important to elect someone who will be a leader, who's innovative and puts forth new ideas. As a city councilor, I've advocated for public art, which we've now seen Mayor Vigent put forward with the mural that is downtown. I've been able to push for more diversification and information about boards and commissions, which we both were able to discuss at the city council meeting. And I was a huge advocate for allocating our federal ARPA, American Rescue Plan COVID dollars, to have public input, which unfortunately I was not supported by many of my colleagues on the council, but was really important about public input. So having someone who's not afraid, to step forward with new ideas is very important as mayor.
Okay.
Your mural legislation did not pass.
It didn't, but
Council,
it did inspire other activity in the city, and I think that's very important to bring up.
Okay, Christian?
Sure.
Yeah, next question.
On the campaign trail and your campaign materials, you constantly mention the need for a city planner. To be clear, this is a position that does not exist currently and would need to be approved and funded by the City Council and will carry with it the post-employment benefits for years to come. There's currently only 2 crucial positions that do exist, are funded, and do need to be filled, the DPW Commissioner and CFO. Can you share why you have not made any mention of these 2 critical positions throughout the campaign, and can you also share your plan for filling them?
So the DPW Commissioner, and can you repeat the second one? I didn't hear.
Sure. The CFO.
CFO. So certainly my advocacy for a city planner is because I strongly believe that we need a macro approach to what the development is in our city. It's a top concern I have heard for the last 4 years as a city councilor about the rate of growth and its impact on residents and affordability in the city. I've had very productive conversations with our DPW, with Interim Commissioner Ted Scott about the staffing concerns, and I know that it's unfortunate that we need to fill that position. Staffing at the municipal level is not just an issue here in the city of Marlborough. We need to pay people equitably, have comprehensive benefit packages, and ensure that they feel supported and inspired to stay and work in the city of Marlborough. We don't see a lot of young people going into these positions, and we've been pulling people laterally from other communities, so making sure it's a desirable place for the city of Marlborough, both to work and live, is incredibly important for ensuring that folks for the interim DPW commissioner and our future DPW commissioner and CFO are filled, and it's all about making place attractive for folks to work.
Thank you. So immediately after resignations of the CFO and DPW commissioner, I released statements on both. I also met with the mayor several times throughout the campaign to discuss these important critical positions, especially with new leadership. And as the personnel chair, it's extremely important to get these positions filled. I have identified a qualified CFO who I will be appointing on day 1. This individual has years of both finance and municipal executive experience. And as for the DPW, there was a succession plan in place already, and the mayor chose not to take part in that, so we hired outsource. I will be promoting within, once elected, for that succession plan to take place and continue.
Okay. Samantha.
Thank you. So both of us have been participating in different forums across the campaign trail, which I've really appreciated, and thank all of the residents who've attended. We recently participated in a forum at New Horizons, which is in Ward 1, a ward I have been fortunate to represent the last 4 years. And you made a statement about how much you've learned on the campaign trail about the city of Marlborough. And I'm curious if you could share more light about what you were able to learn since campaigning and how come some of this information wasn't already known to you as a city councilor.
That's actually a great question. I can give you a list a mile long. I realized how much we need support in the school systems. I didn't realize you hear things and not having children, you don't really get a good grasp of what's going on in the day-to-day schools. So knocking on countless doors and talking to parents across and going to Jarrick and Kane and Richard PTO programs and really getting a community of what's going on. I didn't realize how much the support is needed regarding our ESL programs. Tutoring, it needs to be more effective. I didn't realize how much homelessness there was in our school systems, finding the need for that as well. There's little pockets of information that sometimes you're just not privy to that, and there's such a great love of this community, and to showcase that and actually represent that has been huge. So even learning the love of the community has been such a rewarding experience for me, and I look forward to tackling all the issues within the school department.
Okay.
Serving as a citywide councilor the last 4 years, I have been consistently engaged on every single issue, whether it's a campaign or not, across the city. And so I think it's very important to have someone who's been doing the work when no one is watching, right? When being able to engage, whether it's the schools, our environment, the DPW, our fire, our police, public safety overall, all of those things are very important. And so we need a mayor who's been doing the work all along, and that's what I've been doing as your city councilor at large for the last 4 years, and would continue doing as mayor, listening, advocating, and taking action on behalf of the 40,000 plus residents of Marlborough.
Okay. Thank you. Christian, ready for another question?
Sure. Our current mayor is a small business owner, and we have been several before him. Small businesses are the key to a successful local economy, a vibrant downtown, and keeping our residential tax rate low. With revitalization Main Street being such a priority for the next mayor, why should the voters choose you instead of a small business owner to lead that city as mayor? Can you also share your plan to support small business owners like myself if elected?
Yes, so I am very proud to be supportive of many small businesses across the entire community, and revitalization of downtown is a big deal. On the city council, we've had all of these housing projects come forward, and a lot of it, the talk has been around how to get young professionals and people to live in the downtown area. And I represent those individuals, right? I know what people would like to see, whether it's the walkability, whether it's having more events downtown. I know we've both participated in the Horribles Parade and the Food Truck Festival, and the work that MEDC, the Economic Development Corporation, and the Chamber has been doing to build business in this community is amazing, right? Whether it's filling vacancies in commercial space or helping with our toolbox program, that's something that I want to expand, where we're able to allocate resources to support small businesses to start, to make changes, and we've seen many businesses in the community be beneficiaries of that program. So making sure that the funding is available for that is really important, and listening to business owners firsthand. I've been going to different businesses across the city and asking people what they need, and oftentimes it's things around code enforcement or signage, right? Things that are very easily attainable and certainly the city should address.
Okay, thank you.
While I respect my opponent's vision for our business, I am a small business owner. I understand the needs. I'm involved with the Chamber, and I've been involved since 2010. I've had a small business Saturday tour where I go out and I do a little video and talk to the business owners about their wants and needs, and actually promoting small businesses. And there have been institutional businesses that I grew up with as a kid, and to see them flourish. We need to create a working group and revitalize Main Street and attract property owners that actually want to invest in downtown Main Street. And there's no other candidate that can do that other than myself.
Samantha, your next question.
Thank you. So at the last debate, we had a really important question about the opioid epidemic and alcohol and drug addiction in our community. What organizations and strategies would you utilize to partner with and improve this in the city of Marlborough?
That's a great question. I've been meeting with Cheryl Jouer quite a bit on Narcan and the use of Narcan. We have a substance abuse coordinator position that has not been filled. During City Council, there was a lot of debates in regards to that position. I think that that position should be expanded out so we can do more community outreach. I don't think that one is enough. Even by going back to the DARE program, I know that a lot of vaping is happening in our schools, and that needs to be looked at and evaluated pretty closely. Even drugs that are related in our school systems. You know, even as you mentioned, what I've learned on the campaign trail, I didn't realize how much vaping is occurring in our school systems. So with the community outreach substance abuse coordinator, we'll be working and tackling on that and getting that position filled, even if that's a pay salary change, and looking at that so that position can be filled, because it needs to happen, because our opioid crisis is something that is definitely taking over.
Okay.
Yeah, I would share I've already been moving forward to engage on this issue directly, having met with the Addiction Recovery Center, the ARC, which is providing amazing services to residents across the city, and certainly needs better support from the city overall. So many families are suffering in silence, and I really want to bring attention to this issue firsthand. And this is really an example where, you know, the mayor needs to listen and advocate for residents, and having that citywide approach is really important. And certainly, you know, the position that the city has created was not at the levels for the salary in order to fill that position, and so making sure that our salaries are comprehensive is really important.
Thank you. Okay, Christian, your last question.
Sure. Union contracts end up making up a majority of the city's $200 million budget. The negotiations between the city and these unions could mean difference between paving a road or not, meeting required staffing levels, or not putting off much needed projects. Can you share, please, how many unions the city has, including schools, which contracts will be up next calendar year, 2024, and what is your philosophy would be on negotiating with these unions?
Well, I first want to appreciate the work of all of our members of unions in the city. I myself, when I was at a nonprofit, helped unionize myself with my colleagues to form a nonprofit union through NPEU, and I know it's very difficult to do that and go through negotiations, the bargaining process, and you know, I look forward to doing that as mayor. Certainly being able to have that perspective of being on the other side of the table allows me to really engage and understand the issues that folks are facing, you know, with the staffing levels. Having me recently met with our fire union, for another time, really just hearing that they want to have a direct line of communication to the mayor. And I think that's something I've been able to do really well, not only as a city councilor, but just really be someone that people can talk to about the issues, and certainly being able to build out a strategy. With the interest-based bargaining that the schools does, I think that's an amazing way to kind of bring the issues to the table about what the schools would like to see, what the teachers would like to see, and then being able to advocate for the city side and knowing what the challenges are with our existing. So, we've many negotiations coming up, and I look forward to engaging in them.
We have 14 total unions and 11 are up in 2024. So that means there'll be a lot of time taken away negotiating those contracts. I think I want to thank Mike Macaro for the labor attorney. He does a fantastic job, so I will be sitting closely with him to evaluate all of our past negotiations as well as what our future can bring. But we also have to have mutual respect with our unions. That hasn't been happening throughout with this current administration. And once you have that mutual respect and have a meeting of the minds, then we can make the city a better place.
Okay. And Samantha, your last question.
Okay, wonderful. Is this the last one entirely, or
No, just between you two. We have more for you.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure in the question. So it's very important that we have a mayor who is impartial and able to engage on a variety of issues to represent the entire city. I would love if you could speak to the number of times that you have recused yourself, which means being unable to vote because of a family or business conflict in the city, and if you could share that information with the residents.
Sure. I actually love this question. It's come up a lot in the campaign. I think it shows that I am transparent. My parents have done pretty well for themselves regarding the city, so they have owned multiple properties. So anytime a vote for a special permit comes with an abutter situation, my parents' residential investments that they have, I recuse myself from the situation because I do not want to jeopardize the vote of the council or the development process. As elected mayor, the special permit, it won't be an issue because the mayor does not vote on special permit projects, so there won't be. And as if you're elected mayor, Councilor Perlman, you will have conflict of interest as well, and I've been transparent on that from the get-go. We currently have a project in front of us with the Red Spring Road, and the applicant came before us, and he's donated a contributing amount to your campaign, but there's been no disclosure of intent for that either. I would like to believe in transparency and be respectful of that for the city.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's very important that we have a mayor who is impartial. I believe according to the city council meeting minutes, in your first year of office alone, you recuse yourself 16 times. This means you were unable to vote on issues that impact your direct ward and weren't able to represent residents in Ward 3. And when you are the mayor, you have even less oversight because there aren't council meeting minutes or a recording. So it's very important that we have information available, and I think it is concerning, and we need someone who is free of conflicts of interest to be the mayor.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Anything further?
No, I
Okay.
would disagree, but yeah, that's
All
for
right.
the voters to decide. So yeah.
Thank you. So now we're back to our panelists.
All
Bob,
right.
If you'd like to start.
I would love to, thank you for asking. As reported by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, September of 2023, 30% of Marlborough Public School students are not meeting expectations in the MCAS testing. This is not only impacting families with students in Marlborough, but also homeowners who don't have students in the school system, and which directly impacts the value of real estate in comparison to abutting communities. Since the mayor is the chair of the Marlborough School Committee, how do you plan to address this?
Samantha, we'll have you start.
Thank you. As the only candidate with a background in education, I take this issue very seriously. I have trained teachers across districts in the Commonwealth, from Lowell and Methuen to all around Boston, on civic curriculum. And certainly the percentages that you shared are alarming. We're fortunate to have a very diverse population here in the city of Marlborough, but some of those data points don't represent the work of our teachers, the incredible work of our administration, and the students in the classroom, because individuals might not know the language and then are forced to take standardized testing. There is a ballot question, obviously, right now, moving forward to remove the MCAS requirement, and certainly being able to support our school committee and our superintendent to continue and strengthen our schools and be able to support all of our multilingual learners. We'll ensure that property values remain high and that every child in our schools has a comprehensive and amazing education.
Okay, Christian?
Sure. And it's a great question. You know, growing up, going to Hildreth, I went to the reading room, you know, just for that extra support. And I think that's where the plan has to happen, is to have those people who are available to assess the situation and provide those adequate resources to help out the students who are ESL or having trouble staying up in the classroom, or if they're exceeding classrooms. Because if they're exceeding in the classroom as well, they're no different than the ones who are low exceeding in the classroom. And to find those resources, that's why meeting with the paras and the behavioral tech specialists is so important when that union contract comes up, to provide adequate pay so we have more support in the classrooms. The teachers have a scope and sequence where they have to teach per minute every day, so they don't have the flexibility of allowing to be able to actually teach and provide those resources. So regarding a plan, we need to look at where our $90 million is going to for that budget and effectively respond to that based upon the needs of every student.
Thank you. Julie, next question.
A Marlborough citizen asked, referencing to the Marlborough Police Department, what will you do as mayor to promote diversity in our public service departments and ensure the protection and inclusion of minority employees that is more representative of our diverse community?
Christian?
Sure, I can start that, and that's a great question, because the Marlborough Police, and even as a city council, we're not reflective of the community, and that needs to be looked at and evaluated. But I think the bottom line is the salaries. Even when it comes to women and it comes to the police force, there aren't any. And we actually received an email this week from the council level talking about how there's no women enforcement. And I think that is a huge disadvantage for Marlborough, especially when it comes to sexual assault victims. There's no one to advocate for them. And we'll be looking at that pretty closely. And I think when salaries across the board, whether it's diversity or women, they're not being represented and paid well. So when you look at the salary structure, then you can actually recruit more effectively and have more qualified candidates if the pay is comparable to surrounding towns and communities. So that's what I'll be looking at regarding the police unit as a whole.
Okay. Samantha?
Well, I really love this topic because this is definitely something that's been top of mind for me. I've engaged with the police union and our police chief as well. There's currently one female officer in the police department, and a lot of it does have to do with our comprehensive benefits and packages. Right now, we don't pay our police officers enough or give them the benefits if they have an associate, bachelor's, or master's degree. They have a flat stipend rather than having a percentage, which is what other communities are doing, and we keep seeing people leave the force because of that. And even at this most recent budget cycle, I brought up an idea to our fire chief during the meeting about being able to have a direct pipeline from our very diverse school district directly into public service positions like police, fire, DPW. We have so many students here with the knowledge and the language skills that we need to help serve residents, and we should be creating those pipelines, and that's exactly what I would do as mayor.
Thank you. Luis?
Yes. All right. So this question is from our last debate that we didn't have time to make the question then, so we're going to make it now for both of you. So as we know, America was built through the sacrifice of many veterans, and we are grateful for that. So how would you help veterans in the city of Marlborough start or grow their businesses here, as well as how would you recognize their services?
Samantha.
Yes. Well, I'm vice chair of the Veterans Committee on the City Council and have been engaged with them very early on when I was first running for mayor. And beforehand, both of my grandfathers fought in World War II and are veterans. And I thank every single veteran, those who've served and are still serving in our community because of their service. It's a big sacrifice and we're grateful for it. We're fortunate to have, the ordinance here that honors KIA veterans and the namings. It's very important that we maintain that and really just honor these individuals who gave their lives. In terms of starting a business, some of the programs that we already established around the toolbox with the Marlborough Economic Development Corporation and being able to create a new item for grants to be able to address veteran-owned businesses. Certainly the upkeep of having to start a business is already an issue. Having worked with our veterans agent, things around mental health for veterans, access to services, housing, affordability, all of these are embedded and we have city structures to do so. So to be inevitable to really bring bring that veteran perspective to the forefront and really bring folks onto boards and commissions that do have the veteran perspective. And I'm grateful for all of the veterans who have supported me as mayor.
Thank you. Christian?
I would love a veteran to start a small business, and maybe right down on Main Street, to kill two birds, one stone, so we can help revitalize downtown. As Councilor Perlman said, we do have the MEDC toolbox, and even regarding the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce, I cannot tell you what an asset this is for this community. Starting a business, you have no idea what you're doing, you're kind of floundering around. I started the business at 30, and you think you have an idea of what it takes to run a business, and you don't. The perception is there. Just like this position as mayor. We can sit here and discuss what we think we want to do, but once you're in that seat, you really need to put your pants on, or your skirt for that matter, and really get to work. And there's a pride of that. And if any veterans who actually been through the war, I think will have a better understanding of what business is. But there's a lot of services out there, and I would recommend any veteran to open a business. It's not easy, but the reward at the end of the day is, for me, priceless.
Okay, thank you. I think that concludes.
You want a bonus round?
We have a
You want-
bonus.
we have a
I would
bonus
love a
round
bonus
question.
round.
Oh, sure.
As
We
we now.
passed it, we're going to the bonus round.
Bonus round.
All right, Bob,
Okay,
go.
this is
Prize
a
for the bonus
two-part
round.
question. The first part of it is, have you accepted donations from outside the city? And if so, how do you feel that may impact your ability to govern?
Christian, we'll start with you.
Yeah, this came up in the last debate. I think learning from the preliminary debate, my donations have been pretty local. I think I said last time that I did have one endorsement, the Victory Fund, which advocates for representation regarding the LGBT community. And I didn't expect that, and it just worked out well. I'm concerned that if there's a lot of special interest groups out there, what does that say about the candidate as well? But the overall support regarding the donations have been incredible, and running a campaign is not cheap. But at some point you have to say no to some money that has a special interest, and I'm thankful I didn't have to cross that bridge. And I just want to thank everyone who has supported the campaign, to thank you. And my donations have pretty much been pretty local, other than the Victory Fund.
All right, thank you. Samantha?
Thank you. Fundraising is a really difficult and frustrating part of running for office. I am fortunate to have raised the most money of any of the candidates, and that really speaks to how I can get individuals, corporations, businesses to come to the city of Marlborough, because people are invested in seeing someone like me as the mayor here, and also in the city of Marlborough's future. I have a lower average contribution than my opponent. Half are less than $80 from those who are Marlborough residents. I have over 280 residents of Marlborough who have donated to my campaign, 3 times as many of my opponent that are from Massachusetts, and 2 times as many from the city of Marlborough. It's really important when people give $10, $1, because that allows us to send mail, to get lawn signs, all of those things that make government, if we're running for our government, happen. And so it does not impact my decision making. I have always been an independent voice, and certainly when people are able to give what they can, it's because they're really invested in me and they're invested in the city of Marlborough.
Okay, thank you. All right. Is that it?
That was it.
Okay, now it's...
We're done with the bonus round.
I can make up a few.
We could.
because-
We're not going off the rails.
All right, so I will start with Samantha, and you can do your 2-minute conclusion.
Thank you for taking the time to engage with the issues that matter most to our beloved community. With more than 40,000 residents, more than 22 square miles, and a $189 million budget, we need a leader who understands and is prepared to address the nuanced challenges our city is facing. Having experience in all levels of government, nonprofit, education, law, urban planning, and the environment, coupled with my deep resident engagement as a citywide councilor, sets me apart from my colleague here tonight. I am committed to making government accessible and transparent, and I've knocked on thousands of doors since 2019, even in 2021 when I was unopposed, to hear your concerns and ideas. Serving on the Finance Committee throughout my council tenure, I have shaped our budget process firsthand, strengthening our robust commercial and industrial tax base and keeping residential taxes low. Moreover, I have experience working with the state government to pass legislation that benefits our public schools, something critical as we face overwhelming building capacity and the need for increased state funding. As chair of the school committee, I will work tirelessly to ensure that every child receives the education that they deserve. Marlborough is facing critical issues, from never-ending road construction, Route 20, to a new fire station and seniors unable to afford to live in our city. We must address these issues with fresh perspectives and innovative solutions. My promise to you is I will listen, I will advocate, and I will take action to make Marlborough the best place to live, work, and raise a family. I ask you to envision the Marlborough that we can create together. A city with strong, well-maintained infrastructure, reduced traffic, a bustling downtown, strong businesses, a stable tax base, and schools that provide a world-class education for all children. I'm not just here to promise change, I'm here to act on your behalf. My name is Samantha Perlman, and I humbly ask for your vote for mayor early or on Tuesday, November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Christian.
Thank you, Darlene. I would like to thank the Marlborough Regional Chamber of Commerce and WMCT for organizing this debate again. This election comes down to two things: experience and readiness. In 7 days, when the sun comes up on this election is over, our city will have a mayor-elect. That will either be myself or my opponent. That person will be waking up to the responsibility of managing a $200 million budget, leading 1,500 employees, negotiating with over a dozen unions, and representing 42,000 people. At the end of the day, running this city is akin to running a large corporation. And as a small business owner, I am the only one in this race with experience as a CEO. I have managed budgets, hired employees, and negotiated contracts. As the longest serving city councilor in this race, and the only one to serve on the West Side Fire Station Committee, I'm intimately familiar with the operations of municipal government and municipal finance. We need a mayor who will be ready not just on January 1st, but on November 8th. As mentioned tonight, I have a chief of staff in place to both run the transition and begin on day one. I have a staff member who will join the mayor's office in January who speaks fluent Portuguese. I have already identified a qualified candidate for a CFO who I plan to immediately appoint on day one. I have a long-withstanding relationship with DPW and senior staff and intend to promote from within for our next DPW commissioner. Within the first month of office, I will reestablish a West Side Fire Station Committee, commission a comprehensive study of our roads and infrastructure, and begin putting together our Main Street Working Group to revitalize Main Street. The decisions the next mayor will make will affect your children's education, your tax bill, your drinking water, your roads, your garbage collection, your recreational opportunities, your safety on the streets, and so much more. I have laid out a clear vision of Marlborough's future and possess the proper experience and infrastructure to get it done. If I have the honor of being elected, I'm committed to being here for the long term as your mayor. We have a fire station and elementary school to build, a Main Street in need of revitalization, and more essential projects will require a mayor who is committed to seeing them through. I am invested in Marlborough. I have no intention of seeking higher office or going anywhere else. If you believe that we need to a small business owner in the mayor's office, I humbly ask for your vote during this week or on Tuesday, November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to thank everyone. I'd like to thank our panelists for this evening and our candidates. And Steve?
Nice job. Yeah, it's all good. All right, till the next one.
I too would like to take a moment to thank WMCT-TV for broadcasting this debate. Our panelists, Bob, Julie, and Louise, for your questions. Darlene, great job moderating again. Thank you so much. Emily, thanks for keeping everybody on track time-wise. And of course, our candidates, Samantha, Christian. You guys are been well versed tonight and did a great job. And certainly, the city of Marlborough has a tough decision. And so I congratulate you both on a great debate, and certainly wish you both well in the election next week. Regardless of what happens, I look forward to the chamber. Certainly looks forward to working with both of you. And so that concludes our mayoral debate for this evening. And once again, if you could please check out our events for the Marlborough Chamber and the ones especially that support the city of Marlborough, we'd encourage you to do so. And one more time, this is your time, City of Marlborough residents, to make a decision and be sure to vote on November 7th. Thank you.